The battle raged across the void of space, a chaotic symphony of laser fire, explosions, and the silent screams of dying ships. The Galactic Union's fleet was crumbling under the relentless assault of the Dominion, their once proud armada reduced to scattered remnants. The Dominion's warships, sleek and merciless, advanced with calculated precision, their commanders confident in their inevitable victory. The Union's flagship, the Starfire, was adrift, its hull breached and engines failing. Admiral Krell, the Union's leader, stared at the tactical display, his mandibles twitching in despair. "Send the distress signal," he ordered, his voice heavy with resignation. "To anyone who will listen, we have no other choice." The signal pulsed through the cosmos, a desperate cry for help. It reached the edges of known space, where humanity's colonies lay hidden behind a veil of isolation. For centuries, humans had kept to themselves, their reputation as enigmatic and technologically advanced beings preceding them. The Union had little hope they would respond. "Humans don't involve themselves in galactic affairs," Krell muttered to his second-in-command. "They've never answered a call for aid before. Why would they now?" But deep within human space, aboard the warship Eclipse, the signal was received. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, her sharp eyes scanning the message. Her crew, a diverse group of humans from Earth's United Nations, watched her intently. "This is it," she said, her voice steady. "This is why we stayed hidden, why we built this ship. Not to hide, but to act when the time was right. The Dominion's tyranny ends today." The crew nodded, their resolve unwavering. The Eclipse powered up its engines, its sleek, angular design cutting through the darkness as it entered hyperspace. When the Eclipse emerged from the void, the battlefield fell silent for a moment. The Dominion's commander scoffed at the sight of a single ship, but the Union survivors felt a flicker of hope. The Eclipse was unlike anything they had ever seen. Its hull shimmered with an adaptive camouflage, its weapons glowed with an eerie blue light, and its sheer size dwarfed even Dominion's largest dreadnoughts. Reyes' voice echoed across the comms, calm but commanding. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of the human warship Eclipse. Stand down or be destroyed." The Dominion laughed, their arrogance blinding them to the threat. They opened fire, their plasma cannons and missile batteries unleashing a torrent of destruction. The Eclipse moved with impossible speed, its point defense systems intercepting every projectile with pinpoint accuracy. Then, with a single command from Reyes, the ship's main weapon activated, a massive railgun that fired hypervelocity projectiles, tearing through the Dominion's shields and hulls like paper. The tide of the battle shifted in an instant, the Dominion's fleet scrambling to regroup as the Eclipse carved a path through their ranks. By the end of the first engagement, the Dominion's advance had been halted, their ships forced into retreat. The Union survivors watched in awe as the Eclipse stood victorious, its hull unscathed and its weapons still humming with energy. Reyes turned to her crew, her expression grim but determined. "This is just the beginning," she said. "The Dominion won't give up so easily. Prepare for the next phase." The crew sprang into action, their movements precise and efficient. The Eclipse was more than a warship. It was a symbol of humanity's resolve, a testament to their belief in justice and freedom. And as the ship powered up its engines once more, the galaxy began to understand why humanity had chosen this moment to emerge from the shadows. The Dominion's retreat was short-lived. Their commanders, furious at the humiliation, regrouped their forces and launched a counterattack. This time, they brought their full might to bear. A fleet of dreadnoughts, carriers, and swarms of fighter drones descended upon the Eclipse. The human warship, though formidable, was now outnumbered and surrounded. Captain Reyes studied the tactical display, her mind racing. "They're testing us," she said to her crew. "They want to see how far we'll go. Let's show them." The Eclipse's engines flared as it surged forward, its adaptive shields absorbing the brunt of the Dominion's initial barrage. The ship's railgun fired again, obliterating a dreadnought with a single shot. But the Dominion's numbers were overwhelming. Fighter drones swarmed the Eclipse, their plasma cutters slicing into the hull. Reyes barked orders, her voice cutting through chaos. "Deploy the countermeasures. Activate the EMP pulse." The crew responded instantly, their training and discipline shining through. A pulse of electromagnetic energy erupted from the Eclipse, disabling the drones and leaving them drifting helplessly in space. But the Dominion wasn't finished. Their flagship, the Iron Fist, entered the fray, its massive ion cannon charging. Reyes knew they couldn't withstand a direct hit. "Evasive maneuvers!" she shouted. The Eclipse twisted and turned, its advanced propulsion system allowing it to dodge the Iron Fist's devastating blasts. Meanwhile, the ship's AI analyzed the Dominion's tactics, identifying weaknesses and vulnerabilities. Reyes seized the opportunity. "Target their command ships," she ordered. "Cut off their leadership." The Eclipse's railgun fired again, this time targeting the Dominion's carriers. One by one, the massive ships exploded, their fighter squadrons left without support. The Dominion's formation began to falter, their coordination breaking down. Reyes pressed the advantage, her voice calm but relentless. "Keep pushing. Don't let them regroup." The Eclipse's weapon systems worked in perfect harmony, its lasers and missiles striking with surgical precision. The Dominion's fleet, once a seemingly unstoppable force, was now in disarray. As the battle raged, Reyes found a moment to reflect. She thought of Earth, of the generations of humans who had worked in secret to build the Eclipse. They had done so not out of desire for conquest, but out of belief in something greater. Humanity had seen the suffering caused by the Dominion's tyranny, and they had chosen to act. Reyes' resolve hardened. "This isn't just about winning a battle," she said to her crew. "This is about showing the galaxy that there's another way, a way of unity, of compassion, of standing up for what's right." The Dominion's commanders, realizing they were losing, attempted a desperate gambit. They launched a swarm of kamikaze drones, each one packed with enough explosives to cripple the Eclipse. Reyes' eyes narrowed as she studied the incoming threat. "Activate the point defense grid," she ordered, "and prepare the gravitic disruptor." The Eclipse's defenses sprang to life, its lasers and interceptors destroying the drones before they could reach the ship. But one drone slipped through, its trajectory locked onto the Eclipse's bridge. At the last moment, the gravitic disruptor activated, warping space around the drone and sending it hurtling harmlessly into the void. With the Dominion's final gambit foiled, the Eclipse moved in for the kill. Its railgun fired one last time, striking the Iron Fist's ion cannon and causing a catastrophic chain reaction. The Dominion's flagship exploded in a blinding flash of light, its destruction marking the end of the battle. The remaining Dominion ships, leaderless and demoralized, retreated into hyperspace. The Eclipse stood victorious, its hull scarred but intact. Reyes allowed herself a moment of relief before turning to her crew. "We've won this battle," she said, "but the war is far from over. The Dominion will return, and we must be ready." The crew nodded, their determination unwavering. They had proven humanity's strength, but more importantly, they had shown the galaxy that even in the darkest of times, there was hope. And as the Eclipse prepared for its next mission, the galaxy began to take notice. Humanity was no longer a reclusive species hiding in the shadows. They were a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of light in a universe filled with darkness. The Dominion's retreat was not the end. Within hours, reinforcements arrived, a massive armada, larger and more formidable than anything the Eclipse had faced before. At its heart was the Oblivion, a superweapon capable of annihilating entire fleets with a single shot. Captain Reyes studied the new threat, her expression grim. "They're not holding back this time," she said to her crew. "This is it. We either stop them here or the galaxy falls." The Eclipse moved to intercept, its engines straining as it closed the distance. The Dominion's fleet opened fire, their weapons overwhelming the Eclipse's shields. The ship shuddered under barrage, its hull buckling in places. Reyes clenched her fists, her mind racing. "We need to buy time," she said. "Activate the decoy drones and deploy the stealth mines." The crew obeyed without hesitation, their movements precise despite the chaos. The drones and mines scattered across the battlefield, drawing the Dominion's fire and creating confusion. But the Oblivion was the real threat. Its main weapon, a colossal particle cannon, began to charge, its energy signature lighting up the Eclipse's sensors. Reyes knew they had only minutes to act. "We need to take out that weapon," she said. "But we can't get close enough without being destroyed." The crew worked frantically, analyzing the Oblivion S defenses and searching for a weakness. Finally, the ship's AI identified a vulnerability, a gap in the superweapons shielding near its power core. "There," Reyes said, pointing to the display. "If we can hit that spot, we can disable the weapon." The Eclipse surged forward. Its engines pushed to their limits. The Dominion's fleet closed in, their weapons tearing into the human warship. The Eclipse S-shields failed, and the hull began to breach. Reyes ignored the alarms, her focus entirely on the Oblivion. "Prepare the railgun," she ordered, "and get ready to eject the core if we have to." The crew worked in silence, their determination unwavering even as the ship around them fell apart. As the Eclipse approached the Oblivion, the superweapons cannon reached full charge. A blinding beam of energy lanced out, narrowly missing the Eclipse but obliterating a nearby Union ship. Reyes gritted her teeth. "Now!" she shouted. The railgun fired, its projectiles streaking through the void and striking the Oblivion S power core. The superweapon shuddered, its energy systems overloading. For a moment, it seemed as though the Oblivion would survive, but then it exploded in a cataclysmic burst of light, taking much of the Dominion's fleet with it. The Eclipse was caught in the blast, its hull torn apart by the shock wave. Reyes was thrown to the floor, her vision blurring as the ship's systems failed. She struggled to her feet, her ears ringing. "Report!" she shouted. The crew responded, their voices strained but calm. "Hull integrity at 20%, one officer said. "Engines offline. Life support failing." Reyes nodded, her mind racing. "Eject the core," she ordered, "and prepare the escape pods." The crew hesitated, their loyalty to the ship and its mission evident. "We can still fight," one of them said. Reyes shook her head. "Not like this," she replied. "We've done what we came to do. Now we need to survive." The crew obeyed, their movements slow but deliberate. The Eclipse S-core was ejected, its energy stabilizing the ship just enough to allow the escape pods to launch. Reyes was the last to leave, her eyes lingering on the battered hull of the warship that had carried them so far. As the escape pods drifted away, the Eclipse S final moments played out on their sensors. The ship, though crippled, continued to fight, its automated defenses taking out several Dominion ships before it was finally destroyed. Reyes watched in silence, her heart heavy but proud. The Eclipse had given everything, and in doing so, it had turned the tide of the war. The escape pods were picked up by the Union's remaining ships, their crews greeting the humans with awe and gratitude. Reyes and her crew were hailed as heroes, but she knew the battle was far from over. The Dominion would regroup, and humanity would need to be ready. As she looked out at the stars, Reyes felt a renewed sense of purpose. The Eclipse was gone, but its legacy would live on, a testament to humanity's courage, ingenuity, and unwavering resolve. And as long as there were those willing to fight for what was right, the galaxy would never be truly lost. The destruction of the Oblivion marked a turning point, but the war was far from over. The Dominion, though crippled, still held vast territories and resources. Their leaders, humiliated but not defeated, vowed revenge. Captain Reyes and her crew, now aboard Union flagship, knew the fight was just beginning. "We've struck a blow," Reyes said to her crew, "but this isn't the end. The Dominion will come back stronger, and we need to be ready." The Union, inspired by humanity's bravery, began to rally. Species that had once been divided now united under a common cause. Reyes worked closely with Admiral Krell, sharing strategies and technology. The Union ships were retrofitted with human-designed shields and weapons, their crews trained in the tactics that had made the Eclipse so effective. The galaxy, once on the brink of collapse, began to stir with hope. "This is what we fought for," Reyes said during a strategy meeting. "Not just to survive, but to unite. Together, we can end this war." The Dominion's counteroffensive came sooner than expected. A massive fleet, led by a new superweapon, emerged from hyperspace near a key Union system. Reyes and Krell mobilized their forces, their combined fleet a patchwork of species and ships, but united in purpose. The battle was fierce, the Dominion's new weapon, a gravity disruptor, tearing through the Union's lines. Reyes, aboard the Union flagship Starforge, directed the defense with calm precision. "Focus fire on their escorts," she ordered. "We need to isolate that weapon." The Union fleet, though outmatched, fought with a determination born of desperation and hope. Human-designed drones swarmed the Dominion ships, their EMP pulses disabling shields and weapons. The Starforge railgun, a gift from humanity, struck with devastating accuracy, taking out key targets. But the gravity disruptor was relentless, its waves of distorted space tearing apart ships and stations alike. Reyes knew they couldn't win a direct engagement. "We need to take out that disruptor," she said to Krell. "But we'll need a distraction." The distraction came in the form of a daring raid. A small team of human and Union commandos, led by Reyes herself, infiltrated the Dominion's flagship. The mission was fraught with danger, the team facing overwhelming odds as they fought their way to the disruptor's control room. Reyes' leadership and the team's bravery turned the tide, their actions buying precious time for the Union fleet to regroup. "We're in," Reyes said over the comms. "Plant the charges and fall back." The disruptor was destroyed in a blinding explosion, its loss crippling the Dominion's fleet. The Union forces, emboldened by the victory, pressed the attack. The Dominion, their superweapon gone and their lines breaking, began to retreat. Reyes watched from the Starforge bridge, her expression a mix of relief and determination. "This is it," she said to Krell. "This is our chance to end this." The Union pursued the retreating Dominion forces, their combined fleet striking with precision and purpose. Key systems were liberated, their populations joining the fight against the Dominion. Reyes and her crew became symbols of hope, their actions inspiring countless others to rise up. "This isn't just about winning a war," Reyes said during a broadcast of the galaxy. "It's about building a future where no one has to live in fear, where unity and compassion triumph over tyranny." The final battle took place at the Dominion's capital, a heavily fortified system defended by their last remaining fleet. The Union's forces, now a formidable armada, launched a coordinated assault. Reyes, once again at the forefront, led the charge. The battle was brutal, the Dominion fighting with the desperation of a cornered animal. But the Union's unity and humanity's ingenuity proved unstoppable. The Dominion's defenses fell, their leaders captured or killed. The war was over. In the aftermath, Reyes stood before the galaxy's leaders, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "We've won," she said, "but this victory belongs to all of us, to every species, every crew, every individual who stood up and fought for what's right. This is just the beginning. Together, we can build a galaxy where peace and justice prevail." The Union, now a true alliance, began the work of rebuilding. Humanity, no longer reclusive, took its place among the stars as a beacon of hope. Reyes and her crew, though forever marked by the sacrifices they had made, looked to the future with hope. The eclipse was gone, but its legacy lived on, a testament to the power of unity, courage, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. And as the galaxy began to heal, the lessons of the war echoed across the stars, that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope, and that together, anything is possible.